Yo, welcome to Music is a Day Job, brought to you by the Concert app. The Concert app is an artist accelerator that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the opportunity to see these artists top notch entertainment all across the world. Um, I'm your host, Sean, aka King Tef. I'm also the CEO of Concert, and Music as a Day Job is about making music a day job. You know what I'm saying? so, one of the things I get asked, because I talk about building fans in your city, and one of the things I was asked was, how do you build fans in a new city or a new area, a new state? And I break this down into five things. So, content, influencers, media, other artists, and apps. So let's break this down. The first thing being content, because it's easy to transfer content that you create and get new people to see it. Whether you're adding new people on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you put your content, and you're getting new people all across different areas. Now, just understanding that when you do this, you should focus on areas that you're about to go into. If you have a tour coming up, or you're going to a new city to perform, if you're saying, "Hey, I live in Colorado and I'm going to Arizona, and wherever I'm going to Scottsdale, Arizona. I want to put material out that they're going to be able to connect with, and material that they're going to be able to see. So whether I have to run a little bit of ads or whatnot, I need to make this content that they can see it and they can be like, oh, this person's coming. And you can run a couple ads on it, but you can also go visit and get content there, because then when you tag yourself back in that content, then people know you're around these areas. And then when you start posting things and you start getting followers from those areas, and they see you've been to those areas, they're going to be like, oh, this is who this person is. And they'll just start liking it, because they know those monuments that you may have sat near, or those places to eat, or whatever you did. They can start seeing those and going like, oh, I go there, or whatever like that. And so you want to build your content based on those areas you're going into. You can build, as I said, you build content where you visit, or you build content and music um that they may connect with better, because it might have something to do with something that they like to do. You know what I'm saying? That area might be heavy in whatever it could be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be heavy in a sound, so it could be heavy in a genre that you know you already do, and you can say, "Hey, I'm gonna make a song like this, and then I'm going to this area, so then I'm gonna put some ads on it and make sure it plays for people that are in those areas, and make sure I target it to hit those people." Um, that's number one. Now, influencers, finding out who the influencers are in those areas that may not be exactly music people, but they may be other forms of influencers that you can connect with. So a lot of people in different areas that are influencers, they build forms of content. So if you can cross market on content together, that's an idea that you can do. Finding out who these people are, because a lot of them have influence on these consumers. So you're basically trying to find who these people are, because they may know other people that may want to come to your show, and they might help you push your show. So then I've even invited influencers to be hosts at my show, or had influencers just do some content with me, because I knew it would get over into that area, and then the consumers can start seeing what I do. I've even got going as far as putting influencers in the area in my music video, so then when my music video comes out, the people in the area start seeing the influencer that they already know, and go like, hey, this is a great song, because this influencer is going to promote it too. Knowing who these influencers are is one of those things that can bring you an extra 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people, mattering who the influencer is. Sometimes you may have to pay an influencer, but I always say look for those influencers that are on the come up just like you, because then they're on the come up in their area, and then so they are willing to work and just do content and do new forms of content and new creative things. You know what I'm saying? The next thing is media. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the media in tons of different spaces. However, it can probably help you, especially the podcast. Podcasts have a stronger pull than, like, of course, like magazine and everything. But back in my day, it was like magazine and radio, and like magazine and radio didn't mess with us, so I was just like, I don't care. I'm still gonna figure it out. So, but then some of these radio stations have started playing. Like, even out in Colorado, we have a couple places that actually play independent music all day. So those are good places to get a couple spins, to get you a couple people that will listen to you and go like, oh, this kid's dope, whatever like that. They're coming out here. Knowing those things, knowing those podcasts and stuff like that, because those are just like influencers. And so knowing those little media outlets that exist, you should always research it before you go to that city, because it could help you. Other artists, like now what I do with the app, that is one of those things that I found that worked in my career, that the app makes it even easier, is understanding who are the artists that are popping in the other city, that are you in your city, because then you can make a fair exchange of going like, hey, I'm coming out there to rock. Well, I'm coming out there to rock, and I know you're the Titan out there. So then I want to be on your show, and you come out and rock on my show because I'm popping out here. So then let's cross and start sharing fan bases. So then when you come out here, everybody knows you coming. When I come out there, everybody knows I'm coming, whether we make music together or not. Now, if you make music together, that's even an extra benefit of that, because then you can say, hey, we make music together. So we have songs together. So then we're going to collab on part of our set or whatever like that. And then that makes it even easier. I have a couple artists that already do that right now, that have collaborated from Colorado Springs to Denver, and they've gone back and forth and been able to work it out. And then like you don't always have to collaborate, because I know some people may be like, oh, I don't like this person's music, or that's not my style, or whatever like that. And you don't have to collaborate. You can just be like, hey, let's just get a show popping. Your fans, my fans, let's get it popping. Let's start crossing over. Now, on the other apps, what I've told people tons of different things. Like, we've talked at different conferences, or I've popped up ideas that people have done, like for instance, like the Tinder idea, like swiping all the people and going and getting the version, the unlimited version, swiping everybody, because then when they contact you, you can tell them, hey, come over to this party over here, or come over to this show over here, because it tells you everybody who's in the area. So it's already broken in the area. So you're finding consumers in these areas. It's easy to find out who's in the area near you. And using other apps creatively like this can tell you where all these people are. So because they're split into areas and like distance from where you are, where your phone is, then you can tell. So it's like, that was the creative idea that we used in the past, that you could tell, you could see where everyone's at. And so using apps for those type of things, I think Snapchat does it too. Like, you can kind of see where everyone is if you're in an area, and you can see, like, as you add people, you can see where they are and stuff like that. So then I think Snapchat's a little harder, because you would have to add them. But just being creative with some of these other apps that you don't like, they can either tell you where these consumers are, or it can help you figure out a way to get in contact with people that it's not used in that format. Because see, what happens is with a lot of apps, if they know like, hey, this is a music app, they intentionally know not to let you just be able to mass contact people. And so they find ways to stop that, because they know that's what you're going to do. And so they intentionally put that there, so then you can't, like, so they can control who gets famous and who gets that strong. Now, when you go to other apps that aren't made for that, and you figure out ways to get into contact with people, that is just a new way, and they're not set up for that. So like when I said like the Tinder thing or whatever like that, like they're not set up to think, hey, rappers are going to get on here, and he's going to find everybody in the area, and he's just going to contact all of them that contact him back. And like, so they're not set up for things like that. So then you take advantage of these apps and how they reach and connect people, and then you just use it towards what works best for you. So once again, as I said, understanding content, visiting ads on content that's going to connect with the people out there, influencers, knowing who your influencers are in those areas, and being able to capitalize off connecting to their consumers, because it's not always about just both of us have to rap. It's just who has influence over people at the time that can help you gain consumers, because your consumers can be the same people. They can be the same age bracket, everything like that. And so knowing who those people are and who they're connected to, very strong. Media, as I say, media is what it is. If you can get into those media situations, especially, as I said, podcasts, do it. Get onto those podcasts. If you can get onto the radio, if you can get into the magazines, always good. Other artists, always great, because working with another artist that already has a key to the city is always perfect, because that gets you can always trade, and that trade is something they want, that's something you want, and the benefit is very mutual, and both people can win off of having that situation. And as I said, the apps, using creative ways with these apps that don't have a clue of how you're using them, because they have mass consumer bases that you can connect to in a different way. Just be creative and look at some of the apps that you're using that tie you to these other people. And if it does something where it's connected to people in a region or in an area to where you can see and stuff like that, that's a perfect way to attack an area and kind of see, hey, these are the consumers out here and this is what they're doing. This is what they're finding their demographics based on, whether age and gender and whatever, however you play it, just understanding those and using the apps to your advantage. So that's how to build a fan base in a new area. So when you go to those areas, use these ideas, and then you can start building your fan base in those new areas.